Hey guys, it's me again, Orcs Larbiters. Where I last left off is, let's see, checking. He met with Aisha on them again. He met Lily. He's got his magic, which will be Firewall and Fire Blast. I thought it would be neat. And he's talked a bit more with Eyes and has, regaled her in some of his tales of fighting in the war. Is there anything else that comes to mind? No. So, as this is being said, we're gonna cut over to, well, the Empire for a second. The tribesmen and the Mage Council have all sort of convened with several powerful figures inside this makeshift government, coming together to discuss things. Several of them are pretty much all of them are in an ideal. They're all, I believe the word is consensus. I forget the exact, one of the exact words. But they're all of the same mind that we should all just focus on ourselves and focus on getting crops and all that for the coming winters. Several of them, have de facto leadership to some of the war veterans, and some of the more ones who have dealt with these issues before, because the tribesmen were more along the lines of hunters and gatherers. They ate ghouls, and there were plenty of ghouls to eat during when the winter came, and the ghouls really don't have a certain thing. It's just they prominent during the night, and cold conditions help them. I believe. If I said the otherwise, I'm sorry. The cold conditions help them and such. They can go out during the day, it's just that it's rare to see them because it agitates them. Like I said, they can survive, but yeah. Several of them are referring to other ones who have dealt with this thing. Also, with military issues, they have noticed that another kingdom has seen and has, from what their intel tells them, is mustering troops. So the warhounds and such may have to get busy again, with the leaders of the warhounds, now Cassius, Lucius, and Aaron, with Margaret there on some occasions, if they deemed her worthy. And some of the most of the warhounds don't like her. Well, it's not that they don't like her, it's just that they don't see her as a commander unless being specifically told so. Because they more or less have their own hierarchy. Oh, we all follow this guy follows this guy, and so on and so on. Sort of like those ideas. With Lucius, Aaron, and Cassius being at the very top. And if Bell was still there, he'd be at the tippy top. Several of them ask what's the warhounds on this take, because the warhounds are, since they're pretty much the most veterans of these guys, they have sort of command over a lot of the remaining troops, and the most powerful ones at that, with the warhounds being their elite units, or their elite division and such. Them only recruiting from the greatest pit fighters and such. At least that's how it was before they had to quite literally take in every single thing they could grab. Mostly slaves, but very strong slaves and such, so that's what they go by, and that's why they're so veteran and so specialized. There was about, from all the ones that survived, there was about 1,000 of them that survived from the beginning of the war to the very end. Well, I'd say 500 saw from the beginning of the war to the very end. Which is very lucky indeed. Considering that that wasn't just leaders who survived, but through a war like that one, some of them are curious, why do we continue to do this? Can't we just leave? And later on, this is when Cassius, Lucius, and Aaron are talking. So, are we just gonna continue on, or what? Should we just leave here? Follow what Bell said? If we followed what Bell said, the other 10,000, the other remaining several thousand would follow us. Pretty sure Orario can't hold that many of us. And I'm pretty sure Bell wanted to, like, get away from this whole life. But I actually don't mind it here, now that the Empire's gone. We can just make this place a nice, stable place where slavery won't be allowed anymore. What do you guys think? I like it. What about the pit fights, though, is what Cassius asked about. Well, the pit fights can still be around. Just be volunteers and such. And criminals, I would say. Criminals could, like, if they could last for as long as possible, they could end up, well, the criminals could be put into pit fights, and if they live long enough, turn their freedom, then they could join the military. It's a win-win. They're like, yeah, that makes sense. Cassius is like, so what's this Orario place is like exactly? What, you thinking about leaving us as well? Not really. Just more or less I'm curious. Well, from what the Amazon told us, and what Bell told us then after, is that it's a very nice place, and that they apparently have a dungeon or something, where below it there's like, there's monsters and such in it. Oh, so it's pretty much like a gladiatorial pit, except you're free to do it instead of being a slave. Like, that is good. But back to the issue at hand. What's this foreign kingdom like? They don't really have slavery, but they aren't also very good. They're ruled by a tyrant called... Actually, that is his only name, the Tyrant. But there's no way. As they're like looking at... He's literally just called the Tyrant. What stupidity is this? It's like, I don't know. But we gotta be ready. Here his armies are well trained and such. But it's been a while since he's gone on campaign, so this might be just a refresher. Or he may actually be serious about trying to take this, which we'll deny him that. They're like, yeah, you know it. And with the with the whole council and such discussing about these matters, well, they have their work cut out for them. But they've already begun preparations for healing and such, and since it's been a few months, they've done quite well. The borders are still, like, on friction, like the warhounds and such are still at the ready to go fight and kill even more. The king and such of the other land has been keeping tabs on it, and he says they're doing quite well. And they, with all the slaves and such are freed, they all didn't immediately leave, because they didn't mind the place. It's a very beautiful nation, and very plentiful. So, they just kept doing what they would do, but now they are free. Oh, that being said, cut back to Deku. I mean, not Deku, Bell. Bell and Integra are going into the dungeon, so what do you think we'll see today? Nothing. I bet it's just gonna be more of the same grinding. With Lily coming out. She's like, hey, you're the guy who helped me yesterday. Well, yeah, not that way. It was a few days ago. I mean, a week ago. There we go. As she's like, oh, yeah, sorry. She didn't come up and say hello. He's like, do you think we should probably grab a supporter? Probably, that would be a good idea. So, as they're discussing this, Lily just happens to overhear them. And she's like, hey, I hear you guys were just talking about wanting to support her? She's like, yeah, well, hello, I'm Lily Rukart, or some other name. She talks about how, like, her things and such, and they get a whole business transaction sorted out. They're like, alright, Lily, come on. This man, we should be able to go down a bit deeper. They're like, so Lily, how have you been late? So, Miss Lily, do you have any specialties that we should know about? She's like, not really. It's just that, Well, I'm a supporter, as you would know, and we just, well, support. We pick up the stones and all that, you know, that sort of thing. Like, we see. Well, we'll split 50-50 as they're going forward. She's like, wait, what? Yes, me and Integra here, we pull our money together. So, we'll take 50, we'll do it 50-50. 2 parties involved, there's 2, we divide it by 2, 50-50. She's like, I see. In her back of mind, she's probably like, they'll probably go back on it. But that's unless, well, maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. As they go on to fight through the thing, Lily almost jumped on, then Belle rushed over, threw up a fire shield right next to her and scorched the beast. He's like, keep it together, Lily. I know you're just a supporter, but come on, keep an eyes all around ya. If you need to turn your back on us for a little bit to make sure you're not being surrounded, do so. As he crushes a few more ants, with Integra shooting 3 more arrows, catching through them. She has learned quite quickly how to use the bow like a pro. She went hunting when she was little with a bow quite often. She shoots arrows like several times, like triple kill, quadruple kill, insane. Just continuing on and on. They get quite a lot. They get 36,000 Valis. Not 36,000. Yeah, 36,000 Valis. Now that leaves 13,000 for each of them. Well, actually, with Lily's help and such, I'd say they get 42,000, so 21 for each. They're like, well done, Lily. She's like, thanks. So now we gotta split the money, and he's just like, puts a bag, and she's like, whoa, this is heavy. Why? And Miss Anna was like, so how much you guys make today? As they, like, really hands him the sack, and it's just, it's like the sack from, no, not Christmas, but, it's like, about half the size of Santa's Christmas sack from Guardians, if you guys remember it, from Guardians. She's like, I'd expect this from you going lower, but you can't. I'm not even surprised anymore at this point. Like, well, try not to be. Come on, let's count it up. She's like, give me a second. As she just has a few people, she's like, come on. They just start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And they all just start going through it. Oh. 42,000 Valis as they like just roll up 4 giant sacks of money. They're like, oh, this will be good. As like there's 4 sacks. Belle and Aisha take their 2, and then he just like grabs onto the other 2 sacks and like, here you go, Lily. She's like, whoa, this is too much. Oh, should I put it in your backpack then? Sure. As she's like, there you go. She's like, whoa. He's like, off balance. She's like, yeah, just grab one of the other sacks and just let me hold it. It's like, alright, we're balanced. See ya, Mr. and Mrs. Integra. Like, well, have a nice day, Miss Lily. She's very nice, isn't she? Yeah. She also seems very young. Is that just me? That could just be the species she is, because I still can't remember. She's like, that could just be their species, or she could actually just be a teenager. Oh well. As they're walking forward. So, what should we do now? Hostess fertility? We've been eating there so long. Sure, the food's good, but let's just eat home tonight. You think so? And as they go home and eat dinner. Another week passes with them constantly going out with having Lily tag along with them. Lily's getting like fitting right at home with the 2 of them acting like sort of her like pretend parents are like, hey Lily, keep yourself hydrated, as Belle tosses her some water. Integra gives her some food, like, keep your strength up, dear. She's like, why are they acting like so maternal? Jesus. Come on, Lily, watch it. As at one point another wolf dives for her, Belle cuts through 3 of them. Like, watch it, Lily. Like I said, keep your eyes in the back of your head open. As he goes to crush a few more. It's like the same thing repeating every day. Lily growing more appreciative every single second. Today, there's no Integra. She decided to take another break. She isn't one to like fight day after day after day after day. She isn't like Belle. She likes to take breaks. Belle is one who likes to go day after day with nothing but fighting. And this is where Lily gets a chance to know Belle some more. She's like, why are you guys being so nice to me? What do you mean? You are a supporter. We pay you to support. If we are jerks to you, well, you may try to be less supportive. Plus, my dad always told me, do unto others as you would do unto yourself. As you would want others to do unto you. Be nice to people, they be nice to you. Always repay your debts, that sort of thing. She's like, I see. As they're walking through the dungeon, oh, Lily, there's one right there. You want to take it, or should I? She's like, you can take it. He's like, alright. Rushes forward and, like, slices forward. Another one to the pile, hey, Lily. Then she starts questioning about him and Integra. He gives the whole, like, oh yeah, we're husband and wife, yada, yada, yada. We got free a few months ago. Free? He's like, we were slaves. But the empire fell apart, and we came here. She's like, that's cool. And also, where'd you get that armor? He's like, it was something I scavenged from the war, as he would say it. As I was given from leaving the war. Some people wanted to give me it. As they're like walking, and they get down even lower. A guy with red hair going like, God dang it! Cutting through, trying to like back off and like cuts through a few monsters. It's like, Lily, give him some support. I'm rushing it. We're going in. She's like, wait, Master Bell. He's like, no time to wait, Lily. He's in trouble. We ought to help a man we ought to help a friend. Would-be friend when he's in trouble. She's like, launching a couple arrows. We don't even know him, and I barely know you, but I've risked my life for you. She's like, good point. Fires a couple arrows. And when a few wolves, he's like, oh, dang it. As the guy's about to be eaten, Belle rushes over and just punches the 3. Throws up fire shield, like, fire shield. And they all get incinerated. He's like, oh, thanks, you two. It's like, well, it's nothing too bad. Belle Crenell. This is Lily. And you are? Welf. I'm Welf. Like, well, Mr. Welf. Glad we could help you. Where's your party? I came down by myself. It's like, it's mighty dangerous, sir. Could have gotten yourself killed. If you want, we could tag along with you to the surface if you're done for today. I was thinking we ought to cut this day short, Lily. What do you think? Yeah. I got some things to do tomorrow, so... He's like, it's no big deal. We've been fighting for entire months. I believe it's month? Entire month, if I remember correctly. Been fighting for an entire month straight, Lily. There's nothing, not too bad. She's like, thank you, Mr. Bell. Well, come on. But Integra's wondering where we are too. We kind of left early. We've been in here for a few hours. Well, we left late and been in here for a few hours. It's probably around 4. She's like, indeed. Well, Mr. Crozzo, what are you doing down here? Well, I wanted to level up, and and want to, like, be able to level up, not just get my skills raised a bit. He's like, exactly how does that work? Well, we're adventurers. We go on adventure. Can you make it more clear? Well, to be fair, we're, like I said, adventurers. We go through the day fighting monsters, and it's when we have an adventure that we level up. fighting monsters and such raise our skills. And I'm giving this as an explanation because I can't remember if I did it. If I explained it last time. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but he's giving the explanation. As he gives the explanation that there must be, like, something that happens, like a close encounter with death or something that, like, gives you a boost of experience, like that overcharges. As the guy explained it, it's like it overcharges your soul or something along those lines, where it just, like, makes you a lot stronger, or just changes you in some capacity. Like, when Bell fights the Minotaur, he gets over his fear, as well as, he just conquers his fear and defeats a powerful enemy at the same time. He fights Goliath and such, and wipes it away with one thing and destroys it. Then, when it came to the whole Apollo Familia, he pretty much stomps on the entire Apollo Familia by defeating an enemy that had kicked his butt previously. So there you go. As the explanation is given, he's like, so that's how it works. It's too bad thing. I don't think I'll ever level up. I've had quite a lot of experiences already. Like, well, you're probably already strong now. You cut through several of those. You, threw up a fire spell like it was nothing. He's like, well, it's quick magic. I just activate it and then boom, it's done. Nothing too special. He's like, that's pretty cool. Well, as they reach the top, well, it's been a pleasure working with you, Mr. Cannell and Miss Lily. Like, have a nice day. As the Welf runs off, back to his little workshop. Bell's like, alright, Miss Lily, let's go get these things counted. And I'm kinda hungry. Let's grab some lunch. She's like, it's 4. It's getting kinda late. It's kinda late to have lunch, don't you think? Nah. Never too late to have lunch. As they, stop by, and they're like, hey, see ya. Mamma mia. It's like, hey, Belle. Hey, Lily. As they just take their seat. Lily's trying to get up on the stool, but it's kind of difficult. He's like, here, let me help you. As he just, sets her up there. Her and her little cloak and this, armored giant just sitting there. It's like, hey, usual, Belle? Yep. And for you, Miss Lily, I'll have the kids special. She's like, alright. Lily's like, Belle's just like, she's like, why? What are you laughing for, Belle? He's like, nah, nothing. It's a kid special. She's like, you alright there, Belle? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. Damn, that still hurts. She's like, what do you mean still hurts? Well, I got smashed in the chest before by some sort of by a monster. It was a drake, if I remember correctly. She's like, a drake? Giant lizard that walks on... Yeah, just a giant lizard. It smashed me straight into the ground and caved my chest plate in a little bit. Did a lot of damage. I was able to get healed up by some mages and such. But there's a little bit of damage. Sometimes it's hard to breathe, but I deal with it. As that is being said, she's like, sorry to hear that, Mr. Bell. Nothing. But I'm taking a break. We're taking a break tomorrow, correct? She's like, yeah. Integra may not want to, though, so I may have to go with her to the dungeon for a little bit. As he's, stretching out his arms, she's like, I wonder if they have massage people here. She's like, well, I heard there's, some springs and such, those, special baths that help with, releasing some tension and such, muscle tension. He's like, probably see one of those. Fighting non-stop is kind of annoying. But since I had that rest period for a few months, makes sense. So, as they continue forward and such, And Belle gets home. He's like, Integra, I'm home. She's like, Belle, where were you today? Me and Lily decided to do some adventuring. Yeah. As he just gets in bed, he's like, tired. Hestia coming in like, hey, Belle. Hey, Integra. They're like, hey, and Hestia. As Belle's just like dozes off, like. As Integra and Hestia are like, so, Hestia, how have you been? It's been fine. I don't remember if I said anything about the banquet of the gods. Probably did. Nope, I did not. That was in the video before, but it cut it. That was in the thing I was trying to do, then the video cut out. As it continues forward and such. Where were you? Just on one of my jobs. Takes a lot to keep this place and money and food on the table, you know? Like, yeah, but we've been earning a lot recently. She's like, I understand, but never too hard, never too bad. Find out, is it not? They're like, Belle's like, understandable. So, what have you been, no, not Belle, but Hestia. So, what have you been doing? Oh, well, I, work in, like, croquet, I think it's croquette, like a croquette stand, serves food and such, you know, the basics. With that being said, though, I think I underhang it now. Dang it. Hestia and Integra talk about Belle and such, and how he's a formidable warrior, that she's like, one of the few people that I've heard stories about that are equivalent to like ones like of Hercules and such is that one are some of the ones of the Warhounds, and specifically Belle. How did he wind up in that position anyway? As Integra goes to give her the entire story, that's just like, that is truly sad. Well, I hope everything turns out well for you two. She's like, but it did. She's like, Belle always wanted to take me here. Now we are. It's been good for us. We're truly thankful to you, Goddess Hestia. She's like, oh, no one needs to be thankful to me. In fact, I should be thankful to you guys. You guys joined from my familia without even knowing the state of how I live and such. Like, it's, well, stumbled upon your humble abode. As like, yeah. Oh, good night, Goddess Hestia. And good night to you, Miss Cornell. As they both go to sleep, it's like, as Belle's going to the dungeon today, well, Integra and Belle are going to the dungeon, and Welf is like, hey, you, Mr. Cornell. Like, oh, Welf, how have you been? Oh, I've been doing fine. But, where's Little Bit? As he refers to her in the anime. Little Bit. He's like, who? Lily? Miss Lily. Well, she wanted to take a break today. I don't know why. Then he's like, who is this next to you? She is quite beautiful. As, like, he puts on some sort of moves. She's like, this is my wife. As he says that, he's like, no, not trying to be rude. He's like, people, you complimenting her like that, even in front of me, even though you didn't know it was, she was with mine. It says volumes. That I agree with. As just Integra, like, stop it, Belle. Like, you wish to journey with us tonight? I mean, today? Yeah, it should be good, right? He's like, yes. You were thinking about going to the mid-floors. No, I haven't gone down there yet. That would actually be a huge help. I've been trying to get, like, with a party to get down there, but nobody ever wants to join with me. So, you see, understand. Well, Mr. Welf, let's go. As they start going down, descend into the dungeon, Welf looking over, Integra. She's like, "Why are you staring?" Belle's like, "Why are you staring at Integra?" Like, no, it's just that her armor and such. I'm a blacksmith, and that armor really isn't the best, Mister. Belle. It's like, what we could do. I wanted to get her something better, but I want to remain light yet sturdy, and that's the thing I could find. Like, I got some armor pieces that you might need. They're pretty light. They come in several pieces. But they're very light, come in several pieces, but they're also pretty sturdy. I tested it, and I took a sledgehammer to it. It just barely made it crack. But it didn't. It cracked it, and I had some adventurous swing at it. It cracked the armor, but it didn't break. It wasn't dented at all. Based by my design, as it should have been. It's like, maybe we will take a look at some of your wares, Mr. Welf. It's like, you can just call me Welf. Alright, Welf. As Integra's like, really? That's some good armor. That would be nice, actually. This leather and such. Though, it's very nice and actually does help absorb some of that fire damage and such that some monsters decide to throw at me. Plus, it's actually hard to pierce. Like an ant tried to bite into it with its pincers. It didn't even make it through. It just felt like something was poking me, but it didn't make me hurt or anything. It's like, yeah, that's a good thing about leather. It's hard to tear and hard to puncture sometimes. As they go through the mid floors and gather some stuff, with a dragon coming at one point, they're like, "A dragon!" As they're running away, that Belle's like, "That's a dragon." It's like, pretty pitiful looking dragon. As he rushes forward and slices through a leg, and Integra takes an arrow and shoots it into one of the eyes. Welf, sorry. Like, "Are you an idiot? Are you crazy?" It's like, "Nope." As he jumps on, as it falls to a knee, Belle jumps onto the back and just slices through the head as it goes. Just dropping another stone. Like, great. Well, and then it even drops an item. He's like, Welf, catch. As he throws him in the thing, he's like, "What is this?" And it's like, "Oh, this is some of that dragon bone." Pretty good detail and such. And it seems that it could be used to fashion a weapon or something. Maybe a flute. He's like, keep it. We have no need for it. Like, "Are you sure? This can go for a few thousand Valis on its own." He's like, "Yeah, we're earning enough by doing this." As that is done, and they go up through there, and it's like, "And we'll come check out that armor later." Cool. "Yeah, it's okay, Miss Belle. Well, thank you again, Welf. Hopefully we'll see you later." It's like, "Bye, Belle and Integra." As they both walk away, Integra's like, "He's very nice." Belle's like, "I agree. Plus, if he gets some better armor, that's all the better." I agree. So, hostess fertility, you know it, as it fades to black. With the whole Lily burning, melting that gold. If I remember correctly, she melts the gold and such. She's like, almost done. Nope. I hope y'all have a nice day, nice night, nice life.